Okay, so we are already in the tradeware and semiotic reading of the pottery. So we will be discussing the different people or artists in the pottery world and how China and other Southeast Asian countries trade or what are their pre-colonial porcelain and stoneware potteries are. So there are pictures later to be shared. And we will be talking also today the the semiotic readings of how pottery reflect the art and the religion of other people, especially here in the Philippines. So let's start with the tradeware. Tradeware is how the pottery, art of pottery became known to other people from other countries to the Philippines. So we have the Song in one dynasty. So we have the Korean and the Chinese people who entered the trade of the pottery. So this is called Siladon, and it is known for its a very shiny texture of those bowls and jars. So it's a porcelain. That's why it's very shiny. And we have also the blue and white porcelain by Ming Dynasty from the China. So it is known also for very beautiful patterns, no, or designs and very shiny texture. So they have also plates, bowls, and jars. From the others, we have the blank the China ware. These are the latter part of uh, the trade. No? We have the plain brown ware and the monochrome ware of blood. It is introduced already by the people who traded the different colors of the porcelain. So we have already the plain brown ware and the monochrome ware or oxblood. From the neighboring countries of Thailand and Siamese or Siamese pottery, we have the celadon that is slightly heavier and often less glossier than Chinese celadon. So they have also this celadon. However, this is a kind of rough and rusty and heavier than the celadon of the Chinese or the Koreans. Here are the examples of their pottery. So you can see that there is a rough texture than to compare with the Chinese pottery. Now let's go to the studio pottery or the handmade, usually one of a kind pieces by the ceramic artist. And these artists are still alive and they are continuing their work in the Philippines. We have the Tessie San Juan and John Tetijan. So it's very popular, in the Philippines, their work. They are popular with the use of pottery and the use of porcelain mixture. We have Lani Abeba Fernando, Ma, Nelfa Kerubin. This is somehow the modernized kind of ceramic works and potteries. As you can see in the picture, there are very beautiful and modern already and minimalist in terms of design. And we have Jaime and Anne de Guzman family. So they are very popular with those trying to preserve the tradition of the pottery making or the clay. No? But they are also exploring on the porcelain and the glossy type of material. We have the Ugo Bigyan and the Fidelgo. And let's go to semiotic reading, the art and the power of the pottery, the art and the gender of pottery, and how faith reflected in the art of pottery in the Philippines and other people. So imported ceramics in the Philippines are generally symbolize power and markers of elite status. So if you have this kind of big jars and pots, no, you are already marked as an elite, no. So usually even today, you know, you can see those jars, no, in their houses. It's very big, and there are porcelains. It's very costly and it's very expensive. So you can see that in the very big mansions and houses. It has been known that they were prestigious because these were made of non-local material and usually materials like gold, jade, and other precious stones. So it is incorporated with other substances. So they included other materials such as hard to find minerals and materials. We have the lavish grave furniture for nobles and power people. The dead bodies were buried along with various articles of everyday use, such as eating utensils and weapons, and also with their servants and domestic animals. We have one example again, we have the Manunggul jar from the Palawan. We have Terracotta Army. The sole purpose of this immense undertaking was to create a subterranean army that would protect and support his leadership in the afterlife, reflecting the first emperor's power in his much documented obsession with immortality in the wider cultural belief that you continue to do on the same path in death as in life. That is called Terracotta Army. So these are the terracotta armies in China. So let's go to the art and gender. For the design, we have Maitong burial jar and the four-breasted jar, no, as I've discussed last time in the previous videos. Uh, these are the models of social organization for the production of pottery. We have the Rice in 1981, Peacock in 1982, and Van der Blue in 1984. Based on patterns and increasing specializations in the product or the production of ceramics, we have number one, household production, where each household produces its own pottery on occasion, usually seasonal basis. So we have number two, household industry, where pottery continues to be part-time activity depending on the factors such as harvesting or weather limitations. This is for the production of the ceramics. No? So it is standardized procedure, no, to increase the specialization based on the patterns. No? We have individual workshop where potters are uh, specialists, although they may be combined with activity with small scale agricultural work. Number four, nucleated workshops where potters are specialists and live or work in particular area of community. The manufactory where production is organized by an owner who has invested equipment and pays wages to specialist artisans. The ceramic factory, which appears in the post-industrial period and involves investment in the powered equipment to mass produce objectives and market them effectively over a wider area. PCAC has two further categories: is state production, military production, where ceramic would be mainly produced for a large organization for its consumption, such as military camp and large state. So this is a uh, procedure or, or things to be followed, no? So that there must be an increased specialization of the people who manufacture these kinds of products in ceramics, because well, ceramics are already dying in terms of art craftsmanship. So their goal is to increase those specializations of production of ceramics. That's on the PICA, no, the source. Based on ecological factors, we have land availability, climate, resources, and others. So we possess all those four uh, ecological factors. So tropical countries are very blessed with those kinds of resources and factors. So among ethno-linguistic groups in the Philippines, we have pottery productions of the people. No? We have Kankanay, and we have the Etneg, and we have the Maranao, Bajau, and etc. Those are people who produce their own pottery. They sometimes sell those products, no, so that they can have those livelihood other than weaving, as we discussed, no. So the Maranaos, Bajaus, and other people are also into the art of pottery, so that they can uh, sell those products. Now let's go to the roles and genders and the significance of this kind of art uh, and crafts. Now, among the Maranaos, Bajaos, ethnic, and other groups, women usually do the potting. Same with the weaving. No, women are tasked to do the pottery. Among the Kankene, men engage in poetry. This is somehow different in terms of the tradition of Kankene, because men are the ones doing the pottery. But with the case of Maranao, Bajau, Etnek, and other groups of people or the IP people, women are usually the one who do the potting. Now, art and faith, native vision of the art afterlife. We have the Manunggul jar again for storage of the burial, or the grave furniture, as they call it. Believe in both existence of the soul and life after death. So those are examples of the burial jars. And 8th century BC, found in cave of island of Palawan. We already discussed this one, the Manunggul jar. The suggests the belief among early Filipinos in afterlife across a mythical body of water. The designs were painted in red in emphasis to provide variations of jar, predominantly brown color. So we have the red, considered as a sacred color, used on special burial jars. So there are kinds of jars, no, in Manungol. So the red are the ones who are very sacred and used in special burial jars, or sometimes the elite. And there are common Manungol jars. We have talismans also, the celadons from the Chinese, or the Ming Dynasty, and also the Thais, or the people in uh, Thailand. Considered as a greater talismans, the local wear believed to change hue when poison food was put on. So it changes the color of the celadons when there is some chemicals put on the food. So those are examples of celadons, of the talismans. The talismans are tasked to protect the people who hold those talismans. And I think that's the end of our discussion in the pottery. So I hope you learned something about pottery, and kindly visit the LMS so that there will be